Ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to have a talk about why 2024 will change No Man's Sky in such a big way. Now, as we know, we had a sneak peek of the trailer for what is up and coming in 2024 for No Man's Sky. In that trailer showed a lot of promising things, including procedurally generated space stations. Interiors were completely different as well of said space stations, and it even showed a few small other details, such as a new ship. Well, now that's up to speculation to whether that ship is only procedurally generated for that particular space station. There's a lot of different theories about that. But in the background as well, there was new icons such as racing flags, which also indicated that racing could come into No Man's Sky. So there was a lot of different things. Now 2024 for No Man's Sky will be, in my opinion, the definitive year. Now for context, why do I think it's going to be the definitive year? As we know, we have Light Nor Fire now on the horizon, which is Hello Games' new next love child, the next new IP. Now, that's not to say that, No Man's Sky is going anywhere anytime soon. However, what we do know at the moment is for development, it is a 50-50 split. You've got half of Hello Games employees working on Light Nor Fire, and half still working on No Man's Sky. That's from what we know about and what has already been confirmed. Now, when Light Nor Fire does release, which will be at any point during 2024, there is speculation saying it's going to be the beginning of 2024. There's speculation it's going to be in the middle and the end. Nobody truly knows, and that's the bottom line. No one truly knows until it's going to be announced or given a date or is just released. But what will happen is when it is released, for some context here, all the developers, if not maybe just a few skeleton crew, will be left with No Man's Sky, but everybody else is going to go over to Light Nor Fire to carry on making content patches and so on, a bit like No Man's Sky. Now, where does that leave No Man's Sky? Now, the reason I say this is because 2024 essentially will be the very last year that we will see major updates, and Sean Murray kind of hinted at this. He basically said that 2024 will be a massive year for No Man's Sky, and I think that's the reason why any loose ends, anything that they want to implement for No Man's Sky, anything they need to tie up, anything else they want to try and develop to maybe test it on No Man's Sky first, because Light Nor Fire takes a lot of the same technologies that No Man's Sky has been developing, and they've brought it over to Light Nor Fire. You can actually see that a lot in the trailer. So anything that they need to develop, implement, will get done in 2024 for No Man's Sky, which is why a lot of people are saying, and even Sean Murray is even saying, it's going to be a massive year. I think the game is going to change in such a fundamental way that compare this year to 2024, I think the game is going to look completely different by the end of 2024. By the end of when No Man's Sky will get its last real content update. And sadly, I do think that is coming. I mean, you think this game, by the end of 2024 at least, the game will be what? Going on to 8 years old? 7, 8 years old at that point? It has had an amazing run. But one thing as well, one thing that Mr. Murray did say when he was talking at the Game Awards, when he was talking about Light Nor Fire, and it's something that actually sparked a small bit of interest in myself. He said he is hoping to continue and hoping to develop Light Nor Fire for the next 10 years. So he's given a 10-year window. So does that mean that they still intend to support No Man's Sky for 10 years also? Is it like a 10-year, like a decade-long program that they have internally that is not really spoken about publicly, but where they support the games for up to a decade and then move on? So if that's true, then we can speculate from what he said there to say, well, No Man's Sky is by 2024 8 years or so old, then it's still got at least a few more years in that sense of updates and so on. So, I mean, we know, just like anything, nothing lasts forever. And No Man's Sky has had an amazing run, and it's not going to dwindle out of obscurity for many, many years, way past 10 years. You know, it's still going to be a game that everyone still goes and enjoys and plays. I just think that now what will start happening, and I have said this before, but I'll say it again just for anybody who hasn't seen the video too that I've done it on, is, you know, there'll be updates coming out now, 2024. There'll be major ones coming 2024 to start rounding things off and implementing everything that needs to be implemented. And then we're going into 2025 season. 2025 will probably, if I had to make a good prediction here, I would say 2025 will be the slowdown process. There might be lesser content that year than any previous year that we've ever known No Man's Sky. I reckon that's when it will start to like slowly dwindle down. Now, I'm not saying there won't be content in 2025. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there'll be expeditions and so on. But I just don't think there'll be as many content updates, as many major updates anyway. Then going into 2026, there'll be even less. You know, that's then starting to push the 10-year mark. Obviously, for No Man's Sky, 2026 was released in 2016, 2026, that's the 10-year mark. And then I think after that point, it will then just start to really go downhill with support. And I think at the very most, there'll be one guy that's just basically there to keep the lights on the game, to keep the servers running, and to make sure that there's everything that is basically running smoothly. That's what I think. And then I think the entire team, apart from the one skeleton crew guy or maybe two people at max, will then be fully pressed on to light nor fire for then content and so on. But, you know, that's what I predict. Now, where does this leave No Man's Sky? Now, No Man's Sky, as I've always said, will be a generational classic at that point. You know, and it's like games today, like for example, Team Fortress 2, you've got Gary's Mod, you've got, you know, Counter-Strike, you've got so many games that are pushing, you know, the age of the game, but yet they're still vastly popular. And No Man's Sky will fall under that category for its game genre, and it will be played still for a very, very long time to come, just like all the other games that are that old or even older in some cases and are still retaining mass playability, mass player base, because there is nothing else like it on the market. The closest that any other game came to, and I say closest with a quotation mark, was Starfield. And we all know how that went, because No Man's Sky blew Starfield out the water after everybody was so concerned. So don't write No Man's Sky off yet by any means, shape or form. It's still got a lot of life left in. And, you know, like I said previously, I will be covering No Man's Sky, I'll be covering Light Nor Fire, and it's going to be an interesting time. And I can't wait to see what implementations like Hello Games do bring to the table for No Man's Sky in 2024. It'd be interesting to see where they want to tie up loose ends. Will they add something in No Man's Sky to really keep that replayability factor rolling? Because right now, when it comes to replayability of No Man's Sky, especially when you've been playing it for as long as you know, 2016, 2017, 2018, and you've done everything in the game, then when it comes down to replayability factor of No Man's Sky, unless you want to start a brand new game, there's not really much in terms of keeping your attention at late game after that point. But they could bring something in to really make the game loop absolutely amazing. And there's so many ways we can do that. And this isn't the speculation video for that, but there are things they could do. There are things they could do and bring in to really kind of like make No Man's Sky a staple for many, many years to come. And I think 2024 is the time they're going to do that. I just hope that they do it in a good enough way that will continue No Man's Sky's legacy into the history books and keep players interested for a very, very long time. And that's at the end of the day, what only anybody can hope for. I really hope they do it. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Do you think that 2024 will be the biggest year No Man's Sky has ever seen? Do you agree with my assessment that after 2024, 25, and 26, that the game will start ramping down in its development, in its content getting added and updates getting released? Do you think it's all going to start slowing down? Let me know your thoughts, comment section down below. And as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.